Let's start by changing how we think about conflict. Conflict isn't always a problem. It can actually be a sign of a healthy, engaged team. When handled well, it becomes a form of friction that moves the group forward. Avoiding conflict completely might look like harmony on the surface, but underneath, it often hides disengagement and missed opportunities. In fact, a lack of disagreement might mean your team is playing it too safe. It's through respectful debate and the clash of ideas that teams unlock creativity, solve complex problems, and make smarter decisions. Healthy conflict challenges assumptions and encourages diverse thinking, which leads to better outcomes and stronger team bonds. But not all conflict is productive, and that's where we need to draw a line. Healthy conflict stays focused on tasks and ideas. It's like a small fire that adds energy without getting out of control. Team members might disagree, but they still respect one another, and the tension leads to forward movement. On the other hand, harmful conflict turns personal. It shifts from collaboration to confrontation, causing resentment, silence, and division. Not all conflicts are created equal. To lead a team effectively, it's important to recognize what kind of conflict you're dealing with, because how you respond can either build the team up or break it down. Let's look at two of the most common types: task conflict and relationship conflict. Task conflict happens when team members disagree over the what or how, like project direction, timelines, or resource priorities. This kind of conflict, when handled well, can actually be good for the team. It encourages critical thinking, surfaces new ideas, and can improve decisions. Think of it as productive tension. It stretches the team without tearing it apart. Now contrast that with relationship conflict. This one's personal. It stems from differences in personality, values, or communication styles. It often shows up as frustration, resentment, or emotional outbursts. And unlike task conflict, this type usually hurts morale, damages trust, and slows down collaboration. To make it clearer, here's a quick comparison. Task conflict focuses on ideas and work. Relationship conflict focuses on people and emotions. In healthy teams, conflict doesn't mean dysfunction. It often signals growth. Recognizing the early signs of productive conflict helps teams turn tension into progress. First, listen for idea-focused challenges. Team members openly question ideas, not individuals. Discussions aim to improve work outcomes and processes. Personal attacks are avoided, keeping psychological safety intact. Next, observe constructive meeting dynamics. Passionate debates happen, but they end without lingering tension. Disagreements actually drive engagement. The energy stays focused on solving problems and moving forward. Another strong signal is when dissent leads to decisions. Conflicting views are voiced respectfully to explore alternatives and refine ideas. From this dialogue, better decisions emerge, built on mutual understanding. Finally, even visuals can reflect productive conflict. Green check marks signal clarity and momentum. A blurred presenter image reminds everyone the focus stays on ideas, not personalities. Icons throughout reinforce positive conflict and outcomes. When these signals appear, it's a sign your team is using conflict as a tool for innovation and progress. As a team leader, spotting toxic conflict early is crucial. It often starts small, little behaviors that slowly break down trust and teamwork. The sooner you notice the signs, the easier it is to step in before things get worse. Let's start with passive-aggressive behavior. This shows up when someone uses sarcasm or makes indirect jabs instead of being upfront. You might hear backhanded compliments or subtle insults that leave others confused or upset. Sometimes, people use dismissive language to shut down conversations altogether. These small behaviors don't seem like a big deal at first, but they quietly damage trust and make collaboration really difficult over time. Another big red flag: withholding information. This happens when someone purposely leaves out important updates or facts that affect team decisions. They might create silos, keeping knowledge to themselves instead of sharing openly. It hurts transparency, reduces collaboration, and breeds mistrust. And honestly, it's usually a sign of deeper problems under the surface, even if everything seems fine on the outside. Why leaders often miss the signals. Now let's talk about why even great leaders can miss the early warning signs of conflict. First, many leaders take silence in meetings as a good sign, thinking no one's complaining, so everything must be fine. But more often than not, that silence hides tension. The truth is, most conflicts don't explode right away. They start quietly, long before they become obvious or vocal. That's why early detection is so important. Another common mistake? Assuming that no feedback means everyone is on the same page. In reality, it can mean people feel disengaged or even afraid to speak up. Leaders also tend to overlook subtle cues, things like closed body language, side conversations, or team members suddenly pulling back from discussions. So here's the big takeaway. Silence does not always equal harmony. Real leadership means paying attention to the little signs before they turn into big problems. Be proactive, be observant. It makes all the difference in how you manage team dynamics. Now, here's a powerful mindset shift for any leader. Don't try to be the firefighter who puts out every flame. A little heat in your team isn't always bad. Some level of tension sparks creativity, fuels new ideas, and pushes teams to grow. Your job as a leader is to manage that heat, not to smother it completely. Think of yourself as an energy filter. You guide and redirect the intensity to prevent things from boiling over into destructive conflict. And when emotions run high, act as the grounding wire. Take that emotional energy and convert it into clear communication and productive problem solving. This way, you help your team move forward without unnecessary drama or escalation. Remember, effective leaders don't eliminate all tension, they harness it to drive progress. As a leader, how do you know if your team is handling conflict in a healthy way? This simple self-assessment can help you gauge it. We break it down into 3 areas. First, public objections. Are your team members comfortable raising concerns openly? Do they challenge ideas rather than individuals, encouraging constructive debate? When people speak up publicly, it signals transparency and engagement within the team. Second, direct issue addressing. Do problems get dealt with directly, or are they ignored and left to fester? Healthy teams resolve conflicts promptly and use clear communication to address issues without blame. Third, naming and exploring tension. Does your team openly acknowledge tensions, or do they avoid difficult conversations? Healthy teams name emotions and concerns to reduce misunderstandings and use tension as a learning opportunity for team growth. By regularly applying this mini-check, you can prevent silent conflicts from escalating and build a culture of openness, trust, and continuous improvement. As a leader, your role in conflict isn't to avoid it, it's to redirect it into something useful. This framework gives you a simple, powerful approach. Pause, label, redirect. Step 1. Pause. When emotions run high, recognize it. Call for a deliberate pause to prevent escalation. A short break or even calming language gives space for clearer thinking and reduces reactive responses. Step 2. Label. Once emotions have settled, identify the core issue. Name the tension or disagreement in neutral terms. Focus on the issue, not personalities. Encourage team members to share their perspectives, always framing it as a shared challenge to solve together. Step 3. Redirect. Now channel that emotional energy into action. Facilitate discussion towards solutions. Use techniques like role switching to help people see other viewpoints. Phrases like, "let's test both views," can keep the conversation balanced and productive. The result? You've created a space where conflict becomes insight. The team feels heard, emotions are stable, and you move forward with stronger collaboration and clearer outcomes.